Forward looking, laying it off. Justin! Hat-trick!
Ariel sends it in off of Gressel. Made it to Elliott. Oh, the first to come! Julian Carranza! A spectacular finish! Philadelphia doubles its lead!
Hello and welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd, and we are, I think, live on YouTube. I tried to schedule a live stream. It definitely seems like it didn't give me the option, so you guys are gonna have to get the live stream the old-fashioned way, with me personally sending out the invites to people. So love it, love Riverside, great company. Highly recommend people using it. Sarcasm if people can't tell, but you know we're gonna keep the vibes going. We're gonna have a positive episode. We're not gonna let YouTube live streaming capabilities bring us down. We're not gonna let it not being able to live stream on Facebook get us down. We're gonna go ahead and just be positive. Positive that we have two guests with us today. We're gonna talk about our awesome experience up at Harrison, New Jersey on Saturday as the Philadelphia Union took on New York Red Bulls. Hopefully they could hear me the whole time, so I'll bring them on to the show. Kyle and Jillian Almoney from the One Team We Agree On. How you guys doing?
Oh, doing well. Thanks for having us on, Todd.
Hi, Charmander. I see Charmander hanging out in the background.
Can you even see Kyle's face? He's like there.
Yeah,
He's not
there
even
we
I
go.
can
in
see
there.
Kyle a little bit better now.
No.
Okay,
But-
yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
Todd,
hopefully you guys
thanks
can
for
hear me
having
the
us
whole
on,
time.
man, as always.
Yeah, could you guys hear me? Because this is the first time that I've tried this with guest on. So I don't know. Could you guys hear me talking the whole time when you were backstage or no?
No,
we couldn't.
We were actually
Nice.
trying to do
It
it.
showed
so
that you were muted on our end. Yeah, like
so that first 45 seconds that you were telling me about, it was just really interesting if we ever decided to go live, because it was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And we just kept clicking, like, did we do something? Then we were looking at other, like, settings, and we didn't know what was going on. So, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is great to know, because like I said, you guys didn't hear it, people on YouTube heard. Cannot wait to let Riverside know about how trash your product is, and it sucks that I already paid it a year in advance, but we don't want to make this every episode
Right.
complaining about
Yeah.
how bad Riverside sucks. We're here to talk about our experiences, like I said in the intro, at Harrison, New Jersey. We went up for the New York Red Bulls versus Philadelphia Union game. We'll go ahead and give our thoughts from that game, and then there was some news that involves some Philadelphia Union players in international duty, so we'll go ahead and talk about that. Again, I don't know if this is going to play correctly or not. We're going to attempt it, the news intro. For people that are watching live on YouTube, which I know is not many because I have to send the link out personally, old school, because, yay, Riverside sucks. Not going to mention it anymore. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the news. Alright, so hopefully you guys heard that. Hopefully you guys heard the intro music. So we'll go ahead and talk about the two players that are Philadelphia Union players that involve their national team, starting with Daniel Gazdag. This was announced, I think, 11 hours ago, that Daniel Gazdag has pulled out of Hungary's international matches against Germany and Bosnia. We saw Daniel Gazdag leaving the 80th minute, I believe it was, against New York Red Bulls. We saw him around the 60th minute grab his knee. He had slipped, it looked like, a little bit, and he looked like he was in a little bit of discomfort, and so Daniel Gazdag wasn't able to play the full 90 minutes, and instead of going to face Germany and Bosnia, he's going to stay back in Philadelphia, which honestly isn't the worst case scenario in my opinion. Your guys' thoughts on Daniel Gazdag not going with the national team?
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of games he's had to play in short succession, I don't think it's the worst thing ever, to be honest. Get a little much needed rest time, probably. At the same time, it's a bummer for him, too, that he doesn't get to go represent the national team there. So, I mean, because that's always a big honor.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see him against, get some action against some of the best clubs in the world, like Germany, Bosnia. It just, I feel bad for the guy. Obviously, injuries stink, but we need him for the last 7 games of the year. So, I mean, better be safe than sorry, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, look, the backup is probably Quinn Sullivan, I would say, as the 10. Yes, we saw Jeremy Raffanello come on and make a 10-minute appearance, but if we're all being honest, we don't feel comfortable with Jeremy Raffanello or Quinn Sullivan having to play that 10 role because neither one of those are 10s. And so you look at and somebody like Daniel Gazak, who's key to this team, how they want to play, uh, leading goal scorer this season. So I think it's not the worst case scenario for him. I mean, I'm sure he would want to go and play with his national team. That whole federation can't be happy with how the Euros went, but at the same time, this is good for the union, and so the less games the better because Daniel Gazak is one of those players that don't get a ton of breaks, and um, it's maybe a little bit of a shot at how this roster was constructed with them not going out and getting a backup, but maybe the club felt like there was better needs than going up and getting a backup 10. Maybe we see it happen in the winter, but the last bit of news that involves Philadelphia Union player is Jesus Bueno. We see he gets another call up to the Venezuela national team as an injury replacement, and so Jesus has been called up twice, I believe, but he wasn't able to make his debut because he was actually hurt both times he got called up to the national team. So they're gonna go ahead and play against Bolivia and Uruguay during this international window, and we'll see if Jesus gets to make his debut. Your guys' thoughts on Jesus being called up?
I'm really happy about that. Again, he didn't get called up, I don't think, since his last opportunity where he was injured. So you wonder if Venezuela was going to move off of him. And, I think at the end of the day, it's just a good opportunity for him to show what he can do if he does, in fact, get playing time. So hopefully he has a good experience. I think, Todd, we were talking earlier today, we were both a little shocked he did get called up due to his lack of playing time. But, hey, good for him. And, again, great opportunity.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him because hopefully he actually gets to take advantage of this opportunity since he's had some bad luck. But I think he's very deserving, and it's a shame he hasn't gotten much playing time lately because when he has been in, I think he's been pretty solid. And,
Yes.
So I'm hoping we'll get to see more of him as the season goes on. But, awesome opportunity for him for sure.
I'd love to see. It'd be cool to see him and Martinez play together, kind of team up again, have some fun at the national level. Which, again, regardless, it's a good opportunity for him to get some exposure with the national team, like we've said multiple times before. So,
Are you shocked that he's a player that's not had a ton of playing time this year for the Union? We talk about it all the time where last season in League's Cup, that was his coming out party for the Union, and that's when the call-ups actually started coming for Venezuela just because he impressed so much in that tournament. And now with game time being hard to come by, and you look, he's basically like a 28th, 29th option on this Venezuela squad. He's filling in for a player that got hurt, and there's been multiple players that have had a call-out of the squad because of injury, and so maybe it's a little bit concerning telling you just how far he really is on that roster.
Oh, for sure. And I would love to ask Jim, and this is something that you could never ask him at press conference, obviously, but why are you rating him? Because every time he comes in, he does impress. So, what's the hang up with bringing him in? I feel like they're, again, a rotation midweek match when you have a Wednesday, Saturday, something like that. I just like to see him get some more opportunities because even during League's Cup when Martinez was sold, he played those 2 games. I thought he looked good, so I'd just like to see him get some more opportunities.
Yeah, I was surprised with the quick succession of those 3 games that we didn't see more of him. To be honest.
Me too.
Yeah.
But again, what does that tell you? I mean, it tells me that you just don't rate him as high as other people on the team. I mean, I think they rate him, but just not as high, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see Jesus Bueno score the game-winning penalty kick against Mazatlan. Is that correct?
Yep.
Mazatlan?
Yeah, he was the hero, once again, of a League's Cup game. So I was thinking after that, maybe we'll see a little more of him, but yeah.
Again, he plays all these good minutes, but then against Colorado, he gets subbed out, and he doesn't even get to put in the PKs, so.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing that he got taken off for penalties against Colorado Rapids, and you could tell he was a little bit disappointed just because he was the hero against Mazatlan, and so disappointing that we see Jesus Bueno not be able to take a penalty, but at the same time too, it's good to see him get called up. So you hope that he makes his debut finally for the national team down there in Venezuela. But before we get into this game, we got to talk about our experience going up to Harrison, New Jersey. So myself, you two, and Jose Nunez, we all met at Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania. I think I'm saying that correctly. And then we all drove up the rest of the way to Harrison. And uh, man, we've had some good away games. Colorado is up there for me. I don't know if
Oh,
anything's
for
going
sure.
to pass that. But when I can include my trip last year to Red Bulls, when I go and look at all my trips to DC United, all the local trips, yeah, this has to be my favorite for me. So I mean, you guys' thoughts just overall from the trip up there? I mean, long day. You guys got home late. I got home late. Jose got home late. Like we knew going in, it was going to be a long day. We met early, but it was worth it, especially when you get to see the Union now have 14 games in a row without losing to Red Bulls.
Yeah, so for me, that was my first away trip being in the press box. So that in itself was pretty cool, and both of us actually doing it because for anyone listening that doesn't know, usually it's just one of us in the press box,
Right.
except for the Union 2 games. But so, like, that was pretty cool. I thought the whole experience was very awesome. Like, what a location for the press box. That was awesome. And being that close to the field. But it's just it was just top notch there, to be honest. And it's just crazy seeing how much. I mean, I've been to the stadium there before, but I've only been up in the stands
Right.
at this point. So I've had that experience of it, which is, by the way, awesome. It's if you want to go for an away trip, that's an amazing one to go to. And there's always a lot of fans that go to it. But I had a blast with you guys. Just the whole thing was awesome.
No, I mean, I say it multiple times that these road trips we do together, it's just great bonding amongst friends and just sharing stories, sharing information, um, sharing ideas. I think these are the car trips, just having fun, laughs. I know on the way back I fell asleep, but that's okay. But just having a good time, good camaraderie, and these are the memories you take with you for the rest of your life. It was good to be in the press box with you and all of us, and we had a lot of fun, obviously. And it was one of the things I thought was really cool in that press area. And I know this is the last year they're gonna have the press box down there. They're gonna move it somewhere
Such a
else.
shame.
Is when they did that intro before the game, just the pyro, all that, just the lighting, just being able to sit down there and just take it all in rather than being behind a glass window like some of these away games you are in. I thought that was cool. So yeah, that's my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah, I mean the press box is fantastic when you look where it's situated in basically the stands with the fans, and the rumor is they're gonna change that into premium seating, which I'm not surprised by because I mean, look, these clubs are in the business of making money,
Hmm.
but nobody in MLS, and I've been to 9 stadiums now, or 8. Once I go out to Columbus this year, that'll be 9, I think. But nobody else comes close to that stadium. And press box wise, Colorado, I think, was interesting when Kyle and I were out there. I mean, we stood the whole time just because the seats sat so low. But
Right?
I don't know. I mean, Kyle, I mean, I wasn't thinking about bringing up the press box in Colorado, but for people who haven't been out there, and maybe I can. We're on YouTube, so maybe I could try to show a picture. No, I don't want to break the stream.
Yeah.
But
Don't do
the
it.
Colorado's press box is interesting because their front office is up there with their press box. So what I mean by that, like the desk, the tables, like all the doors and everything, like insane. Never seen anything like that. But it's a very very nice area. It's a good. You get a good view of the whole stadium, and you have the option of being inside when it gets super duper cold. But everybody goes outside because that's where the most seats are. But the issue is, if you try to sit in the seat, you can't see over the table. So Kyle and I stood the whole time. But yeah, New York Red Bull Arena, You don't have to worry about that at all. You're right there in game action.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I know you guys enjoy this too. Being able to hear the players talk and Jim Curtin, let off a couple explosives, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean that's what I love. Just like being that close to the action.
Yeah, it's like saying when we're covering Union 2, of course it's way fewer people there, so we can hear everything that Marlon's yelling at the players and stuff. But I never get that with Jim because it's too loud and we're too far. But that was really cool, and just seeing like up close what's going on, behind the bench and everything too, because we were right behind the bench. So that in itself was really cool.
I don't know if you picked on the ball on this, but Todd and I were like, anytime Phil or Frank were like over there with their little iPads, we're like, okay, what date is it? They had like stats and like graphs on
Oh,
there.
you
We're
would
like
pick
trying.
up on that.
Oh yeah, me and
Oh, we
Todd
picked
are like,
up on it right away.
we're like
you guys
going
are
over there.
digging
We're
in
like,
it, of
okay, what are
course.
they showing them? What are they showing them? What are they showing them? And like I told Todd during the game, I think I said this to Jose too. I was watching Jim's mannerisms, like when certain positions, like there was a time where Red Bull countered him and had like a 3-on-2, which we recovered on. But like as soon as he goes off, Jim just threw his arms up, like what the heck? What the heck was that on that turnover? So you saw the passion, you saw him seeing the game a lot different. And it was also interesting to see Red Bull's coach. Oh, what's his name? Todd.
Sandra Schwartz.
Sandro Schwartz. Very animated coach. Very animated coach. Anytime like some call, like he was always in the ref. Like he was just pulling the ref aside left and right.
Oh, he was heated with Andre Blake killing the time.
Oh
towards the end
yeah,
of the
dude.
game.
But it's stuff like that you don't see when you're high up. You get to pick up on those little nuances. But yeah, no, it's just a really cool atmosphere down there, being so low.
Yeah, absolutely. And I gotta wear like my glasses and stuff to see all the see as much as I do usually, and didn't need as much this time, that's for sure. So
No.
so that was great. And I have to say, just the Red Bull fans are lucky to have the stadium they do. I mean, that's a fantastic stadium, a fantastic environment for that. It's a shame they don't fill it up. And there were lots of seats that were covered with tarps, actually. So that was interesting. I know having the Union fans up so close, the sound just reverberates. They're so much louder, even with not having as big of numbers. Like, I've seen way more fans from Union there before, but they were really loud, too. That was awesome. Like, well done to all the people that traveled, because we could hear you really well.
We heard the F Red Bull chant at the beginning of the game.
Yes, we did. We heard a lot of great ones, actually.
That was great. No, there were some really good chants going on. So you guys and ladies all up there killed it, and should be proud of yourselves. It was a good time.
Yeah, and the players appreciated it big time.
Oh, absolutely. And we heard so
yeah.
many good stories from the fans. We heard some crazy stories.
Yes, we did.
As well. But, yeah, I would love to hear your guys' stories out there. So make sure if you're watching, comment in the chat. If you were there, have any stories from the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael chimes in on YouTube and says, seeing the team interact with the Union fans at the end made me so jealous I didn't make the trip up there. Yeah, I mean, that's something that's always special. I mean, Jillian, I mean, you had a fantastic experience last year in Colorado when Alejandro Bedoya came over and he shook you guys' hands, right?
Yeah, we had maybe 30-ish Union fans there, and at the end of the game, everyone just kind of gathered down at the bottom there to interact, and Ale came through and shook each person's hand and thanked them for being there, which, we all know he's class act as it is, but yeah, that was very cool.
Ale is a class act guy. I love him.
Yes.
Gave probably the greatest comment on Saturday night post-match.
Oh, yes, he did. We gave a couple really good comments, we'll put it that way, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't have lined up, any of the player quotes, because we got to, for a little behind the scenes for people, we got to talk to Jacques McGlynn, Alejandro Bedoya, and Mikael Uhre. Not in that order. I think it went Uhre, McGlynn.
No, it was
We talked to McGlynn first.
Okay,
McGlynn, Uhre, and then Bedoya, and then they had to get to team bus, so it was running short.
Yeah, but Bedoya was, it's like, we had a good amount of Philly reporters there. Yeah, and he looks at us and he's like, "Are you all from Philly?" I'm like,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, he's like, damn.
So this
Yeah.
is the most he's ever seen up there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
so that's
I think
good.
that's what makes it special. So I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think if you have the opportunity to carpool with people, if you're in the media or even as fans, like, definitely do that. I know the trains up there were free. I think I heard this weekend, but it just made sense for all of us. If we're all going to the same place, let's meet like at a halfway point, and then we'll just go ahead and take the rest of the drive up there. Which I don't know. I don't personally mind driving, especially like traffic wasn't bad this time. When we
It
went
really
last year,
wasn't.
it was the closer we got to Harrison, you had people cutting me off. You had just bumper to bumper traffic, but it wasn't bad this time. And then leaving the stadium, I mean, it was pretty dead. So it was pretty cool seeing Dave Leno after the game, and then we're just talking. And I feel like we were talking for like 40 minutes afterwards. We all took a picture with Dave, and then everybody else who went up there as part of the media for Philadelphia. The only person that wasn't included in the photo was Jonathan Tannenwald, because he's the one who actually took the photo for us. So
Right.
Yeah.
shout out
So-
JT, thank you for
Yes,
doing that.
JT.
You didn't have to do that. We could have found somebody else to do that, but yeah, I mean, it was such a cool moment to see all these people up there. And I said it in my post because Jillian's the one who posted the picture of all of us. So shout out Jillian, and saw you getting a lot of traction on that. So that's cool. Hopefully your phone's still blowing up from that. But I don't know. I feel like we're just like so blessed because we have so many people that are so dedicated covering this team. People that care deeply about the team. There's like no jealousy. At least on my part, there's no jealousy. No jealousy. I know on you guys, and it feels like there's something for everybody. Whether you want to read articles, you want to watch YouTube live videos, because I know Jose and Mike Barrera are doing their thing with AAT Sports. They try to go live after every game, and I'm fortunate enough to be invited on whenever they want me on. You guys have your podcast. Nobody else is doing a husband and wife duo. Not, well, maybe there's some, but I don't know. You guys are superior, in my opinion. Nobody comes close to that. And you look at just all these other people doing such a great job, and then obviously you have your local writers writing in the paper, DeGeorge and Tannenwald. So I mean, you look at it, and the more and more away games we go to, especially as media. Kyle, I know you said, Jillian, this was your first time as media. Hopefully not your last. If we can get you out there for Columbus, you got to do it. You got to do it in
Yeah,
Columbus.
I'm aiming to
we're
do that.
definitely-
Yeah.
We're definitely, that's the game plan.
But the point is, it's like there's something for everybody, and everybody I think just wants everybody to succeed. And we're very, very lucky. And Kyle and I saw this in Colorado. Not a lot of people in the press box last year for the Rapids, and yeah, they were having a down season, but I'd be shocked if there is more independent media covering teams in MLS than what the Philadelphia Union have. And I think it's a shout out to their PR department for just being so willing, so open to allowing so many people there that aren't with a big affiliation to get credentialed. And there's been no issues, and they've been so wonderful to work with. So shout out Amanda, Erica, and Nico, as always. I feel like I
Yeah.
give those guys shout outs all the time. But yeah, a phenomenal away trip, and it's something I won't forget. And so when you make those long drives, you know, it's good to have multiple people in the car to help you stay awake and keep those conversations going. So shout out to you guys for coming out to the trip with me. Shout out to all the away fans, because they were fantastic. Definitely wasn't the most that I've seen at an away game, but yeah, those people were super duper loud and made a tremendous atmosphere. But do you guys have anything else you want to talk about your away experience before we get into the game? Anything that we didn't
Yeah.
mention?
I think you covered it all there, Todd. I think you hit the nail on the head. For all of this, this is passion. Our goal, you and I have talked about this many times, our goal has always been to educate, to grow fan base. I mean, that's why we do our pod, to get people excited about the opportunities available for fans, and then also kind of share our thoughts and feelings on the team. But there is no competition. We want to see everybody succeed, because for most of us, this isn't our full-time job. And I know there are, and I am going to say something, I know there are some people in there that view this as a competition. I get that. But at the same time, you know, we're all in this together. We all want to support and want to see each other succeed, and share ideas. And I think that's the cool thing. And you don't. I mean, you're in New York City. I hear stories from other podcasters that I listen to there in the media, in the NBA, NHL, and it's not like this every other city. I can tell you that 100%. And we are lucky, like you said, with Erica and Nico, because Todd, we've heard stories about Nashville that if you're not with like the major papers, and there's other MLS teams, that if you're not with a major media outlet or something along those lines, or even I don't know. Everybody's got different policies, which is another episode for another day. But yeah, we are extremely lucky to have the opportunities that are afforded to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, the Union's PR team is the best, and we do appreciate the opportunities we get with that. And just, it's been phenomenal. It's crazy. You know, I got to bring up the post game presser.
Hmm.
Like how unique of an experience that was. So,
What, the media conference?
Yeah.
It wasn't a press conference, it was a media meeting discussion.
right. So, I mean, we go in there and it's basically set up like a boardroom, you know? And it's like us sitting around a table with Jim. Like that was definitely different. That was cool.
That was
It
cool.
wasn't like that last year.
No,
Yeah,
we were all
that's what they said.
packed in like sardines.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely, we wouldn't get this kind of experience like covering, say, the Eagles or the Phillies or something. You know, I think it's really neat though the way that we get these opportunities, and so yeah, just again, we are so happy to be covering this team and
Yeah.
love the amount of different views we get, and yeah, there's no competition whatsoever, and happy for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the last thing I put on, and you guys both kind of reminded me of it, is like I'm still learning. So like listening to
Mhm.
other people's opinions, their viewpoints, maybe they're seeing something different.
Mhm.
You know, I'm always learning, and so that's what I appreciate. I don't try to go in there and act like I'm a know-it-all, and if I come off that way, I hope I don't. But it's like I'm always learning, and so I'm always willing to listen to what other people have to say, or what other people are seeing, and so it's always about learning. And so I always try to approach it as, yeah, I definitely don't know everything. So let's go ahead and talk about that game, though. So the Philadelphia Union beat New York Red Bulls by a score of 2-0. And during the broadcast, I saw a stat that came up and said that Red Bulls were 2-3-4 when conceding first. They concede first in the 4th minute. Don't want to get too into Mikael Uhre's performance yet, because that's going to be one of the topics that we hit on. But you look, going into halftime, the Union had 4 shots. All 4 shots were on target, and 2 of those 4 shots wound up going in the back of the net. And for me, that just tells you how clinical this team is, really, where they scored that goal in the 4th minute with Mikael Uhre. Then you had a quick chance with Mikael in the 8th minute, I want to say it is. Then Jack Elliott with a header, and that also gets saved. And then they go back down with a 4th shot, Todd Baribo's, and that once again winds up in the back of the net. And you guys, I know, noticed this, but what was interesting to me is both Union goals were outside the 18-yard box, and
Right.
that was only the 7th time this season that the Union have scored from long distance. So they're not a team that scores from distance, and I think maybe this is something we should ask Jim Curtin about, is I think maybe the Union saw something maybe in the film or whatever, because both times Carlos Cornell got beat at his near post from distance, and as a goalkeeper, you never want to get beat from your near post, and that's exactly what the Union did. And both shots were clinical from Mikael, from Todd Baribo, and both goals were enough for the Union to win this game. But yeah, I thought the quality in both of those goals were, it's just quick soccer, and Union finding a lot of 1v1 opportunities. They took advantage of those opportunities that Red Bulls gave them, which were a ton of 1v1 situations in this game. I'll go ahead and throw it to you guys. I mean, looking at the Union score and have that fast of a start, were you guys surprised by that?
Well, yeah, considering how the whole Columbus game went, you're going to see. So it was really encouraging. Like, I thought that first half was probably one of the best, if not the best halves the Union played all season in the first half. They got out strong, but also that first, and I asked Jim this too, first 20 minutes of that game, or 30 minutes, Todd, was back and forth, a lot of creating chances from both teams. But again, I thought the Union did a great job. I talked about Andre Blake kind of after that first 18 minutes, kind of getting everybody to calm down. And then that's when the game settled in. But Red Bulls certainly had their chances, I thought. But, it was encouraging to see the Union get out there. I thought the thing that stood out to me was, we talk about that first 15 minutes, they come out high octane, pressing. Even after that, once the game settled, they still kept the pedal down, which let's be honest. I know the second half we were starting to get tired. Jim mentioned fitness. They were still trying to press, and that's one of the things I haven't seen consistently enough this year. I don't know how you feel about that, Todd and Jillian, but I thought they definitely had that hunger.
Yeah, I thought they came out super strong, and just getting a goal in the 4th minute and then 10 minutes later getting another one, I feel like that just really took the wind out of the sails of New York and their crowd too. So I I think that was huge. I was surprised how quickly that first goal came though. Like I was almost like, oh my gosh, we scored this early. And um, so that was phenomenal. And you think about how many times early in the season they were getting scored on first, conceding first, that being a problem. So it was great for them on the road to come out and do that and set the tone.
Yeah, so that's why I hit my screen, because that's what I wanted to look up. How many times the Union have conceded first? So I'm trying to pull that up. I should know this because the Union, I feel like, have conceded so many times first this year. Looking at it right here, when the Union concede first, they have conceded a total of 13 out of 27 times this year that they've conceded first. On the road, they've conceded 6 out of 13 times. So not terrible on the road when you look at their home form. Conceding first has definitely been an issue, with them conceding a total of, and this should be quick math, 7 out of 14 times. So 50% of the games. Not good enough by the Union conceding first at home. On the road, I'll go ahead and talk about their home versus road form here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was a quick start. It's exactly what the Union needed. They needed to start the game that fast. They needed to go ahead and really just set the pace, set the tone in this game. And you got that with Mikael Uhre, who Jim Curtin challenged on Friday, said he's going to have a big game. He needs to have a big game, but he was confident that he will have a big game, telling that, look, Mikael Uhre needs to get involved more in the play. I wrote an article about it where Mikael, prior to this game against Red Bull, had averaged 19.7 touches a game. This game he had 31 touches against Red Bull, and so definitely got involved a lot more in this game. Definitely had a man of the match performance, in my opinion. We'll go ahead and do 3 stars here in a little bit, but yeah, Andre Blake, fantastic game from him, and had 4 saves in this game, and none bigger than the 2 saves he had in the 18th minute in this game. I mean, that's really a momentum swing right there for the Union, in my opinion. Yes, the Union are up by 2 goals at that point, but if Red Bulls go in and get a goal, I think everything changes, in my opinion, because now it's 2-1. Now Red Bull are playing with confidence. It's like, okay, great. We didn't start the game exactly how we want it, but we know that this team leaks goals, and if we get a goal right away, the momentum's back in our favor. And so Andre Blake, like we see all the time, we talk about it all the time, he's always going to give you one big goal, one big save a game, and we got it pretty early in this game. Michael says right here, Uhre's 4-minute goal was a cannon from that distance. I know Curtin said his last press conference he had a discussion with him, so I think he went out there with something to prove. Exactly. And we have a clip lined up here in a little bit when we talk about Jim Curtin specifically, because he mentions that conversation again, talking about how he doesn't want to challenge Mikael anymore, that he just wants him to go out there and have that type of performance, and that's exactly what Mikael gave him. You look at a player like Olivier Baizer. I thought Olivier was pretty solid. I mean, there's nobody bad on that team that I look at. I think every single player had a fantastic game, and that hasn't always been the case. That was by far the best first half, in my opinion, that we've seen by the Union this season, and nothing really comes close to that. And yes, it's easy to say when you have 2 goals, but it's the way that the Union got the goals and really limiting any tough chances for Red Bulls. They made it extremely tough for them defensively, and that's not been the case a lot this season for the Union. So a lot of positives, and I don't know if I said this to you, Kyle. I think I said this to Kyle when we went up to the like cafe area to get our bottles, but I said, the Union need to get 1 more goal. They need to get a 3rd goal, because then I'll feel confident. Because if Red Bulls come out, they're going to feel confident that, hey, look, we're still in this game. And we actually saw that, where the Union play a long ball, it gets cleared away, and Red Bulls have a chance right away with Lewis Morgan, where he hits the post, or was it the crossbar?
He hits the post.
Hits the post.
There were 2 plays, and both times, like, Blake's just standing there, because I don't think Blake thought those balls, they were great. Credit to them. They were great strikes. Those are the kind of goals where you make the goalkeeper look dumb, because he's reading it going, is that going in? Oh, that went in. And it's one of those ones where you're like, you think it's gonna go in and just knuckles wrong, but yeah, they got lucky there early on.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 times that New York Red Bulls hit the post and slash crossbar, and so I don't want to take anything away. Definitely unfortunate, but it wasn't like Red Bulls weren't creating chances. And
Mm-hmm.
Jim Curtin's talked about it plenty of times in the past, where sometimes you gotta earn your luck, and the Union definitely had the luck on the night with some of those shots not going in, because maybe on the other night, maybe it hits just a different angle on the crossbar or post, and that winds up going in the back of the net. And so Jim Curtin even mentioned it, said that he's not naive. He knows that Red Bulls could have had some goals on the night, but the Union will take it, right?
For
And
sure.
sometimes you need luck, and the Red Bulls didn't have luck going in their favor. But since Michael's brought it up, we've mentioned his name multiple times already tonight. Let's talk about Mikael Uhre's performance. 1 goal, 1 assist, 5 out of 5 shots on target. This is now his third consecutive seasons with 10 plus goals with the Union. 13 goals, 7 assists in his first season with the club in 30 appearances. Last season, 11 goals, 8 assists in 49 appearances. This year, 10 goals, 5 assists in his third season in 34 appearances. I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the way and play Jim Curtin's thoughts on Mikael's performance. I'm going to go and hide myself behind the screen. I'll mute myself. Michael and anybody else that's in the comments, if you guys hear an echo when I'm playing Jim Curtin's comments, let me know. I'm going to leave Kyle and Jillian here because they said at the beginning of the show when I put them behind stage they couldn't hear anything. And so hopefully now that there won't be any echo. So this is what Jim Curtin had to say on Mikael Uhre's performance.
With the way Red Bull plays with Mikael, he's a weapon because their center backs are brave and they'll step on the other side of midfield, and that leaves him open in transition. I thought he came off the back line a couple of times and set them up early to receive some balls at his feet, right, and then lays them back to Danny, which then sets up the next play where now the center backs are aggressive and maybe overplay him, and then he can get in behind. So we need those runs in behind. What people don't realize is it creates so much space for Gazdag to operate underneath. Doesn't mean Mikael gets the ball every time when he makes those runs, but it makes the center backs drop 5-10 yards deeper, and now Danny has more room to operate. So it's an important piece to our group, and I thought that when you see Mikael, when you see Ty and Danny play like that, I think we're going to be hard to play against. Of course, can we sustain it for longer stretches of time? That's our challenge. But on the road against a team in Red Bull that's hard to play against, I thought that they had a really great first half, and then I'll just call it a gutsy second half where we're kind of hanging on. And look, you need a little bit of a bounce to go your way to get results on the road. Andre made some very big saves, as we all know, but that's the Mikael that like I talked to you, we challenge him and he usually steps up in those moments. But now it's like I don't want to challenge anymore. I just want it to be like that the rest of the way.
Yeah, and I agree with Jim Curtin. He says it right there at the very end that it says, I don't want it to be that way. He says, sorry. But now it's like, I don't want to challenge anymore. I just want it to be like that the rest of the way. And yeah, I think we can all agree. Jim Curtin's talked about how there's been multiple conversations with Mikael in the past. And usually when he has those conversations, Mikael comes out and he has the type of performance like we saw last night against the New York Red Bulls. And so I think Mikael's a player that we've seen him when he gets hot. He's hot and he can change games. And I think the Union are going to need Mikael Uhre to be in this form the rest of the season. 7 games left on the year. I could see Mikael adding 5 more goals in the MLS regular season, especially because now you're starting to see that chemistry between Ty Baribo, Daniel Gazdag, and Mikael Uhre starting to really build. And look, Jim Curtin's mentioned it in the past, and I see Kyle's eyes right there get big, saying, "Whoa, that's a pretty hot take." I'm assuming he's saying.
I'm saying
But
sign
look,
me up for that right now. Sign me up for that. 5 goals, 3 more assists in these 7 games. I'll tell you what, he does that, I guarantee you, Union are going to go on a run. Because Ty's going to stay hot. Dan's going to get involved. So
because
yeah.
that's what you need. And you had
Exactly.
it in 2022. You had the front 3 carrying you. Once that front 3
Exactly.
got hot, look, the Union started rolling teams. And if this front 3 can stay hot, Ty Baribo is continuing to stay hot. Daniel Gazdag has been hot for the most part the last couple weeks. But if Mikael Uhre can stay there too, that's a real threat. And yes, I know the Union are out of a playoff spot, currently 1 point out of the final spot with chasing Atlanta United. But if the Union can get anywhere close like that 2020 run with Mikael Uhre finding the form that he had in that season, this team's going to be okay. This team is really going to be okay. And
I agree.
there's another clip where Jim Curtin talks about, we'll play it towards the end of the show, where he says, the final 3 games at home, they have to be wins. If we don't win them, we're not getting into the playoffs. Jillian, actually asked Jim Curtin on Friday, I think it was, or maybe the previous week, how many points or wins do the Union see themselves having to get with the remainder of the season? Because Jim Curtin, for fans that are listening and aren't aware, Jim Curtin usually sets a points total, and he told Jillian 5 out of 9 wins in the last season. And so it hurts that you didn't get a win, or at least a point against Columbus. You get 3 points against Red Bulls. That's huge. And so now you need 4. So you're saying you're going to need all 3 wins at home, and then Orlando City, into Miami, New York City, or Columbus, or what you're going to need to win for that last one on the road, which Orlando City could be interesting. New York City, the Union played well there the last couple seasons, so I don't fear New York City as much as maybe in the past, but still, getting this win was crucial for the Union against New York Red Bulls on Saturday, and a big part of that was because of Mikael Uhre.
It really, really was. And again, what was the big difference we saw? They got him involved early. You saw him tracking back, playing defense a little bit more. Just it was the things that Jim's always talked about, and so that was great. Sure, could he maybe have scored 1 or 2 more goals that night? Sure, but you take those opportunities anytime. The thing that impressed me was, and Jim said it, he was a weapon because they like to press up, their center backs like to press up, and so he can get in between underneath them. And he did that. Maybe the goal where he kind of gets stonewalled by Cornell, maybe that could have gone in there. I think the one where Cornell spilled it too, and you wish Todd was there to clean it up. But again, if he can start creating chances like that, that's exactly where the Union are going to be successful.
Yeah, it'll be good to see if they can continue this strong run. I mean, Ty has been just a scoring machine, and if Mikael can keep this up, I mean, honestly, looking ahead to that Miami game, imagine we go and at least steal a point there. The thing about Miami is going to be, like, they concede goals,
Right.
So
but they also score.
They also score. So this could be one of those games where, yeah, both teams score several goals. I don't know, but
I mean, I look at it this way: you get result either between the first 2 road games. You get one either New York City, which I agree with Todd, probably the better opportunity on Wednesday night. Come home, take care of business. Right there's 4 games now. Now you just got to win 1, according to Jim, of Columbus, Orlando, and Cincinnati.
yep.
So,
And hopefully the teams in the East will, as Jim had put, continue to beat up on each other too, and maybe get some help there. But they gotta just control their own destiny here.
Yeah, are you guys surprised by that? Looking at the standings in the East, Jim Curtin mentioned too, just everybody's beating up on everybody, so there's really no separation. Where I'll pull it up right here. I guess I gotta try to share my screen for people on YouTube. But the Union in 10th place, 30 points. DC United in 11th, 29 points. Montreal, 27 points. And then 13, 14, 15, New England, Chicago, Nashville, all on 26. And so, there's not much separation there. Atlanta getting a win over the weekend was a pretty big blow. But the Union, they're 9 points behind New York City, who are in 5th place. And this is an extremely hot take. I don't think that's out of the question. Yes, you're going to need New York City to drop a lot of points. But the good thing for the Union is, like, all these teams that you're chasing, you still have to play them. So you still have to play Atlanta. You have to still play New York City. You still have to play Columbus. You still have to play Inter Miami. You still have to play Cincinnati. You still have to play Orlando. And so the Union have an opportunity to pick up points and go on a run. Michael says right here on YouTube, says, not going to lie, anytime Uhre, Gosling, and Baribo are in the attack together, I feel like they have a lot of confidence they will get a shot on goal. Look, I feel the same way, honestly. And you look, like I said earlier, 4 shots for the Union in the first half. All 4 shots were on target. 2 out of those 4 shots wound up going in the back of the net. Ty Baribo's first shot on goal in the back of the net. Mikael Uhre's first shot on goal in the back of the net. And maybe, if it's better goalkeeping, somebody else stops that. But at the same time, that's a credit to the Union, getting themselves in that position. Mikael Uhre, fantastic. He needed that performance. His runs, 1v1. That's what Mikael Uhre does best. And a lot of fans, Uhre's not scoring enough goals, blah, blah, blah. We pay him the most money. He's the highest transfer fee. his numbers aren't bad. And people are like, oh, he should get 15, 20 goals a season because he's a DP. No, he shouldn't. How many strikers in the world, honestly, can you mention to me that are scoring 20-plus goals a season? There's not many. Because this is why strikers are the most expensive players in the market, is because teams are always looking for players that score goals. Well, in Mikael Uhre's case, 3 straight seasons that he scored 10-plus goals. That's huge. That is huge for the for the club. And so you sign up for that every single day, knowing that a striker and all the competitions you're in that's going to give you 10-plus goals, you sign up for that. And yes, I think fans, they get a little bit overwhelmed. They get too judgmental looking at the price tag that the Union paid. But he's doing exactly what you paid him to do. He's not a high-end DP. If you're paying $6+ million for a Chico Arango or who else, a Diego Ralsei, then maybe you have a point. Look, Inter Miami paid $6 million for Julian Kranza, and Julian Kranza didn't even get to 20 goals this season. But we all praise Julian Kranza for being this wonderful striker for the club, which he was. But it's extremely hard to score 20-plus goals a season.
Yeah, say it louder for the people in the back, Todd, okay? Uhre is not a bust, okay? He's not a bust.
I don't feel comfortable putting this stat out yet. Todd, you and I were looking over Transfer Market today on some of his stats, and I was on Football Ref and SofaScore yesterday. I find it interesting statistically that his time in Philly is not as bad when you look at his overall. I'm confident saying this. When you look at his overall career arc, outside of those 2 seasons in Brøndby, if you took those 2 seasons away, you could argue these are his best 3 years of his career. So it's not like he went from this superstar Danish MVP to nobody. Like, oh my gosh, he went from scoring 20 goals for all his career and now he's scoring 10. Okay. I don't know. Again, it's just you're creating now. But he's fine. He's fine. He is what he is. And like you said, Todd, there are a lot of... He's not a high-end DP. He's a good DP, but he's not a high-end DP.
He's a low-end for majority of teams, which isn't bad. But he's doing exactly what you paid him to do. It's not to go out there and be your MVP. But again, just fans get this fixation that, he needs to be because, he's the highest paid in the club history. So what? Don't you think most teams in MLS would accept Mikael for what he is? So many teams would sign up for that, which is just so mind-numbing to me. And look, I know I said earlier that I'm open to listen to what everybody has to say. I'm opening to different viewpoints, which I am. But you can't tell me that 3 consecutive seasons with 10-plus goals is bad. It's not bad.
I will say this. I've heard people say that they'd like to see the Union move off of on him at the end of the year.
Which, by the way, sorry to cut you off, Kyle. Jim Curtin told us, too, on Friday that the option for Mikael has already been triggered, so Mikael will be back with the club next year.
Right. And so to that point, my response was, well, the way Ty's playing, what's to say somebody from Europe or Turkey or Greece they pick up? Well, anywhere. Heck, Brazil. Somebody picks up the phone, says, hey, here's an offer you can't refuse. Sam moves on, and now you want to move off Uhre? So you're saying if you move off Uhre, who's your 2025 starting forward? Chris Donovan? Yeah. So, no. I mean, at the end of the day, look, it was here. We're happy that his contract option picked up.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, again, if you want to talk about bust, look at Shaqiri. And
yes, that's a bust.
You look at all the money they paid for him in Chicago. Now, I mean, granted, he's a heck of a player, but he really did not, he didn't have a lot around him either. But he's gone. But there are more people you could call bust than Mikael Uhre.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm looking at it right here. Chico Arango gets paid a little over $2 million, and he has 17 goals in MLS this season. Christian Benteke also has 17 goals, getting paid a little bit over $1 million. Luis Suarez, I'm a little bit shocked by this. A little bit over $1 million, $1.5 million. Not sure how Inter Miami pulled that off, but great accounting down there. Denny Bwanga, $3.6 million. He's up there with 16 goals this season. Daniel Gazdag, 14 goals for the Union. Union sure as hell aren't paying Daniel Gazdag more than they are Mikael Uhre, 1.7 for Gazdag. Musa, who's up there with FC Dallas, $2.2 million. He currently has 14 goals as well. So I mean, look, the only players that you can make the argument for is Luis Suarez, $1.5 million. He has 16 goals. Again, not sure how Inter Miami are getting away with that. And then Chico Arango, 17 goals. He's getting paid around the same as Mikael Uhre. Let's see. I mean, it's essentially the same. Uhre getting paid $2.04 million. Arango getting paid 2.08. So they're around the same ballpark. But look, LAFC paid a much higher fee for Chico Arango than the Philadelphia Union did. So at the end of the day, you're getting what you pay for in Mikael Uhre. And so long Mikael Uhre conversation right there. I knew we were going to have that. Anything else that we need to point out from Mikael Uhre's performance?
Just keep feeding him balls and letting him run onto him, because you put him in that situation, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And also, the thing that I love even more is, again, he's gotten back to what he did in his couple years there at Brøndby, where he's starting to create again. I mean, 5 assists this year, that's pretty good for a forward. In my opinion, he created that nice creation on that tie goal.
Yeah.
So he's creating goals again. And so I think, yeah, he wanted to score goals, but he's also creating in that attack. And goes back in 2022, we were joking, he was the X factor of that attack.
Yeah. And when you give him a ball like Jack McGlynn gave him, I mean, that was set up beautifully.
Yeah. So that's where I tie a bow on it, Todd.
Valerie says, Uhre, Mika, Uhre. Yeah, exactly. We heard the fans chanting that. So
yeah, we could hear him nice and loud. It was great.
It was great.
A great game from Mika Uhre. But the star player for me, and we can do 3 stars here in a bit, it's the person I name the episode title for, Danley Jacques.
Yes.
Fantastic performance. And there's actually a question that Jillian asked Jim Curtin after the game to assess his performance, and Jim Curtin gave one long answer, and he should have for the performance that Danley had. So this is Jim Curtin on Danley Jacques' performance against New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, so I think you saw. Well, first of all, it's a perfect matchup because it's second balls, it's tackle, you're up quick. There's no time to really even think, and that suits his skill set. What I think you saw though with Danley tonight was, I think, his composure on the ball. So again, when you come from French League One and you jump into MLS, as unique as our league is, he's playing week in and week out against PSG and high level teams where he has to defend for 90 minutes. And now I think you see the good defensive instincts, but then you can also see composure in tight spaces. So some of the passes he played into Danny, you're starting to see some of the relationships come. Balls he played to Jack, I think he did a great job, not only defensively, but playing forward. I think we'll all talk about the athleticism. I'm actually going to be curious to see when the physical data comes back as we track how far each guy runs. I think it's going to be off the charts for him. But then you see even something that I liked at the end of the game where, he makes that burst into the box and he gets into the we call the assist zone, which is the perfect zone for an 8 in our system in the diamond. So he can probably do that too against the right opponent in the right night. So and he plays across. It should have been a tap in. It just, I think Ty's feet get stuck where he's got 3 games in his legs in the past couple of days. So we should have scored more too. But that was a great performance from Danley. Really proud of him. Not easy to come into a new team, language barrier. I think that the thinking was to start Ali with him just for communication and Ali knowing the intensity and what a Red Bull game needs. I think they did a great job in the first half, and we held on in the second half, if I'm being honest.
I'm okay. Can you hear me? Am I really zoomed in? Because my head looks gigantic in this right now. Okay. Maybe I'll back it up a little bit. I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad to see Jim Curtin's face on that clip. Whatever camera was being used for that. My God, it looked
bad.
like butter was smeared on it.
Right.
But nonetheless, I'm good. I'm sorry to catch it a little bit late.
No, thanks for joining us. So hopefully you had a good show with Mike. I think maybe some of your listeners are gonna start hopping over here. Hopefully that's the case. But yeah, Danley, John Jock. We talked about Mikael Uhre's performance. So I don't know if you caught that or not. But Danley, John Jock, man of the match for me. And I'll go ahead and throw it to Kyle and Jillian first. Just what you guys saw from Jim Curtin. I mean, from Danley, John Jock, and high praise there from Jim Curtin.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying during it was like, man, he's really being like what we needed there in the absence of Jose Martinez. I mean, finally, I feel like he was starting to really click because that was his first full 90, and just getting the hang of things the last two games. But man, like I'm watching, I'm like, this is what was advertised. Like, you know,
I think what's encouraging is he's only been here, he's even been here a month yet,
he
has
picked up on it really quickly.
Has he even been here a month yet? No.
The first day he was there, like it was right when you and I went to that practice the first time we saw
I mean, he's still getting his fitness and getting his teammates ready, but the thing I'm impressed with is, Jim talked about the athleticism, is just his awareness, his vision, his diagonal through balls. The other thing I like is he is just very, when it comes to defending, I was really impressed with some of his defending awareness. And again, just understanding the system. It's going to still take some time here. I mean, it's always the gas theory. What is it? You wait for the first full season to get on with. He kind of brought that up with the Gazdag, I guess, in 2022. But in my opinion, I was really happy to see that. And again, he was, Jim's right, he's a perfect matchup. And I'm just really excited to see the future.
Yeah, I'll go to you, Jose. Danley's performance, I know we talked a while during the game, just what we were seeing. I mean, fantastic performance by Danley against Red Bulls, and I don't think anybody should be shocked when you look at him playing against PSG, Monaco, Lyon, Lille over in French League One, and these are the type of performances I think Union fans can come to expect from Danley.
Yeah, and that's just it. And even arguably out of position, playing in a role that he has in the past, but not where I think the Union envisioned him playing. Right, I think he initially was maybe thought to play more as an 8 versus a 6. Never mind, whatever, he can rotate, which is another thing to put on a notch per se for him in terms of what he can bring to this team. But it was quite obvious that he was helping link the defensive end to the attacking end, and look no further than those first 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, which again is what Jim sort of alluded to throughout the press conference. But that was the difference maker there. That and the post throughout the match against New York. So yeah, Danley was fantastic, and it sort of excites you. If he can do it against a pretty good New York team, gosh, what could he do against a crappy New England or Nashville team? The feel that he would have running around that center mid position.
So Michael says here, missing Martinez, but wow, DJJ can really set up some strong plays. And yeah, I think for me, like personally, what I was most surprised by was his line splitting passes. We see it on the goal to Mikael Uhre. He plays a great line splitting pass to Jack McGlynn, which takes out the whole midfield for New York Red Bulls. Now it forces Sean Nealis, one of the center backs for Red Bulls, to step towards the ball. Jack McGlynn. Now he's out of position. Jack McGlynn, clever player, notices that, hey, look, Mikael Uhre is in a 1v1 situation against Kyle Duncan, who that's a mismatch. We see Kyle Duncan get taken out at halftime because he got exposed all half by Mikael. That's an area of the field that the Union wanted to take advantage of. But we saw multiple times on the night Mikael Uhre getting in behind. We saw Danley John Jock just destroying the midfield or Red Bulls. And then his dribbling ability. I was a little bit shocked that he was that good of a dribbler. There was a point where he took on three players. To have that confidence to dribble by three guys in your own half, that tells you this guy's full of confidence, despite that only being his fourth game now, I believe, for the club.
Yeah.
But what else? Jim said, he said, and now I think you can see good defensive instincts, but you can see also composure in tight spaces. So some of the passes he played to Danny, you're starting to see some relationships. I think he did a good job, not only defensively, but playing forward. And he actually, should have had an assist to Ty Baribo. It's a great play on the right hand side where Sam Adinron, credit to him. Jim Curtin also said midweek that we should be seeing more playing time for Sam in the coming weeks. It's tough when the Union are playing so many games during the week where those guys can't really train week in, week out and really get to learn your teammates. And so playing time was hard to come for by Sam. Jim says, he should have some more playing time here. We'll see if that is the case, but I do believe Jim. But it's a great dummy by Sam Adinron to let Danley just continue his run on the right touchline and run onto that ball. And now he's playing that cross into Ty Baribo and hits the post there. But like we saw with New York Red Bulls, it was probably coming for the Union. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. But that's one of them where it should have been an assist for Danley on his only second start. Second start, I believe, for the Union. Back-to-back starts, too. But terrific performance. And I think, whether it be as an 8, as a 6, Danley's showing that he's a quality player. He's a player that the Union paid $1.6 million, I think, for. Had a market value of a little bit over $2 million. So great business here for the Union. And I think this is a player that fans are going to come to love for the many years to come. But the last talking point that I want to talk about for the show is the Union's road form versus their home form. I know we're over an hour into the show, so I appreciate everybody listening up until this point. Jose's like, wait, you guys in an hour? Yeah, an hour and 1 minute. We spent a lot of times talking about our experiences at Red Bull, specifically Jillian's first time as media at an away game, so fantastic opportunity. Jillian crushed it, Kyle crushed it, Jose, as always, you crushed it, and don't worry, we didn't play your chuckling in the back for one of the clips talking to the players, so nobody has to hear that, but Jim Curtin was asked about the Union's road form compared to the home form and, how to correct that going forward. As always, I'm going to hide myself so there's no echo in the background. I'm still here, so don't worry. This is Jim Curtin on that form.
Our home form, Jimmy, kills us right now, because we lost to, I don't want to say bad teams, but we dropped a lot of points in positions where we should have been comfortable and maybe deserved points. And it hurts. So I don't have the answer as to why we've lost so much. I know it's unacceptable, and I will not go through another season where it happens. So we'll do everything in our power to change it. But maybe the guys do feel, I don't want to say pressure because they've been through the battles there. They've won a lot. Sometimes when you try to do more at home, it leads to mistakes. And I think that's what you've seen a lot this year. The guys want to help so bad because they fight so hard for the fans, for the badge, for everything, and their experience. So it's the same guys, not the same, but pretty much the same group. And we've had really just uncharacteristic results at home. And we've made big mistakes that this group shouldn't make. And then maybe when we come on the road, we're a little bit looser, and we know the pressure's not as much on us and you play loose, but we have to bring it back to home because at the end of the day, if we don't win our last 3 home games, we're not going to make the playoffs. So I've told them that they're against direct competitors. You got DC United, Atlanta. That's really going to be the big one. Obviously we go away to Orlando where they're kind of in and around us. And then that last game against Cincinnati, hopefully means nothing for them and everything for us. One of those situations where how the schedule breaks, but you're right. The home form has been unacceptable. We have to take more confidence in that building. You can't be, I think at one point we won 60 games and only had 3 losses. And then this year it's 7 losses. I don't like even talking about it. It makes me angry. So we'll try to get it right. And I can promise it's something that we want to get in the playoffs this year and do our thing still. But next year also that's unacceptable. We have to win our home games. Our fans deserve that.
Yeah, Union fans aren't used to seeing the club lose at home, and that's another long response there by Jim Curtin. The Union, like Jim said, 7 losses at Subaru Park, totally unacceptable. 3-7-4, 21 goals for, 20 goals against, 4-4-5 on the road, 26 goals for, 23 against. That's the second most goals scored in MLS on the road this season. 2012, most losses at home in MLS. They had 8 that season. And Jim's right. We talked about this, Jose. I know you came in late, but Jim Curtin said it there where you have games against DC United, you have games against Atlanta United. Both of those have to be wins. And then even now, like the Cincinnati game becomes a must-win opportunity, and then you go into Miami in a couple weeks, New York City on a Wednesday. Union have had luck against New York City in the past at whether it be Citi Field or Yankee Stadium, and then Orlando City. They've been okay this season, and then Columbus is it's going to be a tough task, but it doesn't get easy for the Union, that's for sure. But look, their road form, they've been one of the best in my opinion, and scoring on the road's not been an issue for this club at all. But I don't know. I mean, when you look at this team at Subaru Park, where Jim said 60 wins or whatever the last couple of years, only 3 losses, and now it's 7 losses. I don't know. I mean, there was a point there where you didn't feel confident. At least I didn't feel confident. Anytime we'd show up to Subaru Park, I'm like, oh, here we go. How are the Union going to blow it this time? And they find a way to blow it against a 9-man into Miami 2-1 loss.
Yeah, I wonder, if how often do folks like Jim and the PR department listen to us, because we've talked about this out loud in terms of, does it seem like they play more free away from home? They feel like maybe the stakes are not as high, having to keep up to that high standard of previous 2 years and whatever the exact statistic was that Jim just said. Because it seems like this year specifically, I think, again, and I mentioned it just with Mike, but all the odds against Philadelphia when they went out to Portland with all the international call-ups, and then still figuring out how to win away from home in a place that's never easy, whether it's regular season or postseason, to play at and play against. So I feel like Philadelphia will need to figure out certainly their home games, but even, I don't know, 60-some% of their final games will need to be victories or no points lost, and maybe getting some help too to be able to sneak into what is already a ridiculous playoff setup in terms of whatever 60-some% of the teams in the league make it. It's almost and I know I'm putting a little bit of opinion here, but like, it's almost embarrassing that it has to come down to being a wild card team, when in reality this team from the get-go should have been more of I thought would have been more of a 5th or 4th place in the conference type of team, not necessarily waiting for themselves to take care of business, but also others to help them out.
Yeah, I agree, Kyle and Jillian. Concern at home compared to on the road?
Yeah, I think they might just feel a little less pressure to uphold that standard when they're away. And I mean, if I'm being honest, I feel like this year too, the Sons have been could have been cheering a little better in some cases. No, like, as someone who's been in the stands during this, I mean, the people around me, a lot of people, myself included, were giving it their all, but there was too many people that are just there with, because it's the cheap seats and they're not like buying into the chants and stuff. So I think certainly the group could be a little louder at times and more supportive there. But yeah, it's just, I think once they lost a couple at home too, it started to get in their heads maybe a little bit. Like they felt
Perhaps.
too much pressure to like they were overthinking it kind of.
Todd, you and I talked about that when we were talking about the other conversation we were having when we were heading up to the guest where they had the drinks, the press area upstairs. I still think if Andre doesn't get injured, they're kind of in the 5th or 6th, well, probably 6th. Defense hasn't been solid all year, so probably 6th. But again, we are here where we are. But going back to the home, I just think, like Jillian said, they put too much pressure on themselves at home at times, I feel. And, again, Columbus is a perfect example. They came out flat-footed against a heavily rotated place. They shouldn't have a team. They shouldn't have to do that. So, again, I think they just feel more relaxed, more aggressive. They know they have to play their style, but I don't know. I'd love to see them take that road energy, like all of us would, and transfer it to Subaru Park. But again, if they haven't done it this part in the season, do you really feel confident that they will be able to do it now? I mean, they're going to have to, so that's kind of where we're going to have to see it.
All right, Jose, so I'll throw it back to you. Jim Curtin said, we but we have to bring it back to home because at the end of the day, if we don't win our last 3 home games, we're not going to make the playoffs. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think they could. I feel like they could get away with just drawing against Cincinnati if they take care of some of those other away games. But obviously, that's much easier said than done because it could be that Cincinnati. I think I was getting emails even last week or 2 weeks ago that Cincinnati could clinch a playoff spot with like a slew of different things. It was honestly like a list this long of things that had to happen, much like Miami did with 9 games to go, which is sort of an incredible thing too. Um, which in most leagues, I guess they would have won the title already when you think about it. But yeah, I think that the Union could get away with a Cincinnati draw, but definitely having to beat Atlanta, who they're neck to neck. Never mind DC, who they're also bumping in between. So winning those two, and then was it Orlando and New York that are away games as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah, those two are. I think if either one of those become 0 points, I think it's over. Just I hate to say like blow it up, but like CJ Olney, come on right up, and Kevin Sullivan, come on right up, that type of thing. But that'll never happen, and maybe that's just me being super pessimistic.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I mean, you got to take care of your home business first and foremost because then that's less pressure for you on the road. But it seems like the Union just every time they go on the road, they never feel any of that pressure, and maybe it's because it's not their responsibility to win the game. It's always a home team. We know that winning is the hardest thing to do on the road in MLS, but the Union have found the formula how to be successful the last couple of years on the road, and maybe that's a good thing. We're all sitting here that the Union are probably going to get an 8-9 seed, maybe a 7th seed, which means that majority of the playoffs the Union are going to have to spend on the road, which is fine if you look at it because this team's been very, very good on the road. And even when they concede first on the road, they still find their way back. Like we saw against Columbus in the League's Cup, they concede first and they come right back down and get a goal. And then we know the rest is history in that game. But there's been multiple times they go down 2 goals against Atlanta United earlier in the season. They fight back 2 goals. Should have had a third goal, but it was ruled off for offside. So yeah, this team does not concern me whatsoever if they have to go on the road for multiple games in the playoffs. But that's pretty much it. Quickly, we'll go over 3 stars. So I'll start with you, Kyle, and Jillian. Who would you say are your 3 stars of the game?
Danley, Mikael, and the post/crossbar. No, but no. Yeah. In all honesty, and I would say Danley, Mikael, and Ty probably. Or Andre.
Yeah,
Andre had some big saves.
I'm gonna go. Andre
Yeah,
is my
man.
number 3. Mikael's my number 2, and Danley Jacques is my number 1. I think that's kind of my whole list. Yeah, but I also want to give a shout out to
Your boy Olivier Bizo?
No, not him. No. Played fair on the night.
Yeah, he played.
I want to give a shout out to Jack and Jacob for some really key blocks on the night. I mean, they defended their heart out, and I didn't get to ask Jim that, but that was one of my questions. I was really impressed. Now, there were some plays where they almost cost some goals, but I especially in the dying minutes of that game, they were playing their hearts out, so that was good to see.
Yeah, I thought the defense just had a really gutsy when they played with a lot of heart. I mean, between Jack, Jacob, Andre back there, and Kai and Olivier were very strong. I mean, Kai's been, honestly, the most consistent player the whole season, I think. I mean, he's just been solid every single game that he's been in. So, but yeah, I agree. And then, yes, honorable mention to the woodwork because that saved the Union's butts a few times. It only counted against them like one time.
Jose?
Yeah.
Gosh, I won't say Danley because I know we showered him with praise over the past 48 hours or so. I would say Ty. I appreciate that he's been able to keep that form the way that he has been.
It's okay, dude, to say Danley because that's exactly what
Yeah,
I'm
I guess I'll say Danley. And then honestly, it's completely as an aside, but we've dealt with not so great PR folks in our time doing this coverage. Shout out to the Red Bulls PR, super friendly all throughout, very quick to respond to questions and concerns that we had, especially as
Yes.
myself,
Like 30
first time.
seconds.
Yeah,
Insane.
first time visiting PR person, visiting press person, I should say, going over to New York Red Bulls. Like it was awesome. Didn't have to explain a thing. They were just welcoming and eager to have us. So shout out to those folks out there for making it a memorable night, and obviously everybody who was there. It was fantastic. A lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. So we're an hour and 16 minutes into this. Thank you guys. But look, this is the thing, right? Because the Union don't play soccer until 2 weeks. And so maybe you guys don't listen to this whole episode and whole, maybe break it up in parts. So you guys have time. You guys have time. I do want to make sure that maybe I do another podcast some point during the week, but I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not.
I have an idea.
No, you have an idea. Then we'll see what happens. Do you want to say an hour or all fair?
No, I'll say now. Maybe what I'm planning on doing at some point next week or in between match day 1 and match day 2 of the international window, just checking in on how those that traveled with their nations are doing or what they played, how they played, that type of thing.
It's an interesting and maybe even something to write something quickly on Substack just to keep people informed. So I mean, definitely options there. But I do want to end with blunder of the week, and I'm getting a little bit hungry, guys. Really hungry. I think I might go downstairs and make a sandwich here in a bit. But blend of the week is actually going to go ahead and go to the Lips. Kyle and Jillian and I, we went to play foot golf at Muddy Run Park. And Jillian, she crushed it. She absolutely did. I mean, she was kicking balls from like 30 yards away, just straight as an arrow. So when we all get invited for the media game this year, Jillian, you're definitely joining our team. You're going to crush it in the passing game. But the stupid lips on these goals for foot golf ripped us off so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and give that blunder of the week.
Yeah, not good.
No, not good at all, because we should have had a lot better scores than we did. You know, Jillian recorded a 5-foot putt for me that just bounces out of the hole or doesn't even go into the hole because of this stupid lip.
Mhm.
And I don't look. No, I'm not admitting to it. I did nothing. I missed some putts because of this, and that's going to be blunder of the week. But fantastic time with Kyle and Jillian playing foot golf. Fantastic weekend altogether, just with you three guys going up to New York Red Bulls Arena and going to Swarthmore my very first time. And what a beautiful campus that was. And just all in all, a perfect weekend. And it's pretty sad when you think about it, where we have 3 home games left. I don't know how many more away games fans are going to go to. I mean, for me personally, I'm going to Columbus. That's the last away game of the season. Just need to book a place. But, yeah, it's sad that the season, we say this all the time, it starts so slow, and then once the summertime approaches, especially with Leagues Cup, oh, my God, the season just flies by. So a little bit sad that the season's coming to an end. But 7 games left, 3 home games left for the Union. I'll be able to get to 3 more games in general, 2 at home and 1 on the road. But all in all, fantastic weekend, and it's thanks to you guys. You guys joining the podcast, you guys going up to Red Bull Arena with me, and foot golf action. So I thank you guys. We'll go to Jose. Where can people find you?
Is it Jose R. Nunez 91? I think that's my tag
Yes.
on the Twitterverse. And just follow these guys. We share each other's stuff quite often and like each other's stuff. Somehow it'll pop up. So you can find me there.
Yeah. And before I say that, just for the record, Todd won foot golf today, and he was awesome. And yeah, so he's very good at driving the ball. But anyway, yeah. You can find us on Twitter at TOTWAG, on Instagram and Facebook at the one team we agree on. My my personal Twitter is silly_Jilly. Comes from a childhood nickname. Kyle's at Coach Almoney.
Yep.
Coach Almoney. Yeah, and if you guys aren't following the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow Free Kick Pod, wherever you get your podcast, The Free Kick. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel. We are live on YouTube, youtube.com/freekickpod. I went back and when I played some clips, it sounded like the intro played, so progress, but the live schedule tweet did not work. So we take one step forward, two steps backwards, always with Riverside. And if you guys want to check out my writing or just everything in one place, check out thefreekick.substack.com. Shout out to Jose Nunez for convincing me to start a Substack, so it's all on him. But yeah, fantastic episode, fantastic weekend, and I couldn't have done it with a better group of friends. Very, very grateful for the Union bringing us all together. But with that said, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.